Hi, friends. Today I'm going to try and convince you to read my very favorite books by reading one line in them. One line in them. First of all, we're trying something new today. This is a new location. I made a little reading nook, and I feel like the lighting's killing it, but maybe it looks different on camera. I have a little mic right here instead of on me, so I don't know how that's gonna work, but our drink of the day is a Starbucks crisp apple iced macchiato shaken espresso. They gave it to me and it wasn't like blended. For a shaken espresso, it really separates into like milk and coffee, so I just poured it into a new cup. Okay. Oh, also, can I get a little commotion for the socks? It says at your cervix. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that. Okay. I actually have no idea how many books I picked out. I have a lot of favorite books. So we're just gonna get started on this pile. I also have one on my computer and one on my phone. I'm not gonna forget them. First, we have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, I think is how you pronounce it. This is a very popular book. It's like a classic thriller, I feel. And I was worried reading it because I feel like it's not even that old. I feel like I thought it was really old. 2012, it's old to me. It's about a woman who goes missing and her husband. And I quite literally can't give you any more details because I don't want to spoil it, but it is so good. So the line I chose is, "We are all working from the same dog-eared script. And if all of us are play acting, there can be no such thing as a soulmate because we don't have genuine souls." A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm like yelling. It just, okay. So this is second in the ACOTAR series. I won't give any more details because spoilers, but the quote I picked is, "There you are, I've been looking for you." His first words to me. Not a lie at all, not a threat to keep those fairies away. Thank you for finding her for me. I actually can't. Okay. My sister had me read these. Well, she started reading it and my mom was buying them for her, so I got free copies. And now if I think about this series too much, I actually start crying. So maybe I should have saved these for last. But this is Quarter Wings and Ruin. It's the third one. I call it the last of the Feyre trilogy. I actually have two quotes because, like, I'm going to get this tattooed on my skin. Which one? This is what I'm going to get tattooed on my skin. "You do not fear," Reese breathed. "You do not falter, you do not yield. You go in, you get her, and you come out again." And then, oh my gosh, okay. I might get this tattooed on me too, honestly. "I would have waited 500 more years for you, 1,000 years, and if this is all the time we were allowed to have, the wait was worth it." The love story in these books is ridiculous to me. We've got Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first in the Chestnut Spring series, and honestly, still my favorite. I absolutely adore these two. I'm actually going to go get Hopeless tomorrow, and I'm so excited. This one is about a rodeo star who's getting hashtag canceled because he said that he doesn't like milk and a milk company sponsoring him. So his agent, PR person's daughter, is like having to babysit him to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. And love. So, first quote is, "When they're mad, it means they care about you. They want better for you. They know you're capable of better. When they're indifferent like this, it almost feels like they expected you to blow it." And then we have a lovey one. Again, if it wouldn't look ridiculous, I get this tattooed on my skin. It just says, it's a text. A lot of her things start with text, like her chapters. And she says, "Good luck tonight," and he says, "I love you." Again, if I think too much about that, I'm gonna lose it. But oh my gosh, they're perfect. I actually can't even handle how perfect they are. Okay. So, I'm not a person who very much likes dual timeline books, but I have at least two in here, I think. One of them is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I don't want to reflect on how I'm feeling. This is about a girl named Macy and a guy named Elliot, and they were like kind of high school sweethearts, but they haven't spoken in 10 years, and then they run into each other, and so you're getting past and present, and you don't know why they broke up. And that is a common plot, like you don't know why they broke up, but this one does it well. People we meet on vacation did not do it well. This one does it so well. Okay. It says, I swallow past an enormous lump in my throat. You broke up with her last night? He nods. You're the love of my life. I assumed I would get over you eventually, but seeing you yesterday, he shakes his head. I couldn't go home to someone and pretend to love her with everything I have. Okay. This is an example of one that I know it's not critically acclaimed the best book. I know it can be cringy, but I like it. It's My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. It's a little short book, a really quick read, but it's about this girl who's going on vacation with her brother, and she's a teacher, and he's like going through something, so they're trying to have a chill beach vacation, but they find a murdered body in their Airbnb, or the house they're renting. And he's a bounty hunter, but he's kind of been hired as like a PI for this because somehow his friend who he owes a favor is connected to the case. And she listens to a lot of true crime, so she wants to follow him around and help him solve it. The quote I picked for this one is, our life together is at stake. Did I really think I could just walk away from her? I would sell my soul to the devil to be holding her right now, to hold her forever. Next, we have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love a lot of Taylor Jenkins Reid books, but this is just like, this feels like a narrative on human feelings, if that makes sense. So basically, this is a little bit of a duo timeline, a little bit, because you have to learn stuff that happens in the past, but the main character's name is Emma, and she gets married to her high school sweetheart, Jesse, right after high school, but on their first wedding anniversary, his helicopter goes missing over the Pacific, where he's going to work or something, and then years later, she re-meets a boy that she knew as a child, who was learning music from her parents or something, and they fall in love and they get engaged. I'm not spoiling it, that's the back of this. And then Jesse shows back up. He survived somehow, and you'll learn about it. And so she is trying to figure out if we only have one true love in our life, if she should be back with Jesse, but she's also engaged to Sam. It is so good, I can't even explain. Fourth Wing, obviously. I don't really need to give a summation of Fourth Wing. I feel like I've talked about it too much. But here's a quote I picked. There's actually two. Here's one of them. He would kill you if given the same chance. Well, that's a statement on his character, not mine. Violet is amazing. Okay, this is Hot Guy. He says, she should have killed you in the field, but she's merciful. That's not a flaw I possess. I love the she may not kill you, but I will. Things We Never Got Over. Another romance series where the first is still my favorite. This is about a girl named Naomi who calls off her wedding and is going to rescue her evil twin sister, and the evil twin robs her car and leaves her with a niece she never knew she had. And the boy, Knox, is another person in Knockemout, Tennessee, and is just kind of begrudgingly helping her. Yeah. When you trust someone to see you for who you really are, the betrayal is 1,000 times worse than if you hadn't handed them the weapons in the first place. My heart. Then we have The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I love basically all the Riley Sager books except for The House Across the Lake, but this one was insane to me. So it's about this girl. It's kind of Pretty Little Liars-esque. So these 4 girls go to a camp, and then One day, one wakes up and the three of them are gone. Missing, just gone forever. Then, eventually, she becomes a camp counselor at the same camp later. And, like, secrets are revealed, and she feels like somebody knows something they're not saying, and also people are still very suspicious of her as the only one to survive the night. So, that one's very good. The quote I picked is, omnis vulnerant ultima necat. That's Latin for all hours wound, the last one kills. Goosebumps! Beach read. We know this. I won't even give you a summary. He says, I feel overwhelmed. When I watch you sleep, I feel overwhelmed that you exist. I have a whole video on this book. I don't need to go into that more. I will get upset. Okay. Here's another one that I know people are not a huge fan of, Colleen Hoover. And looking back on like reading her so much when I started getting into reading, I realized that critically it's not like crazy good, but I don't care. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I have both covers. They're both signed. This book's everything to me, honestly. I don't want to cry again. So this is the other dual timeline. So in the past, it's Graham and Quinn falling in love, and now it's 7 years into their marriage, and she has endometriosis, which is what I have, which is why I connect to this so bad. And she's infertile, and she doesn't feel worthy of his love, and he feels like she's shutting him out, and it's just a very good, like, and a very accurate dynamic of like falling in love and then struggling with things. I just felt like she was saying in here a lot of the things that I thought when I got diagnosed with endo about like being married, and it was honestly like a therapeutic experience to read this book, so it holds a special place in my heart. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is a business book, but I read it in high school and it's honestly life-changing. Like, it's not even just like to influence. It does have a lot about like how to influence people like when you're in business and stuff, but it also has a lot of just how to be a human and how to treat other humans. The one that has always stuck with me is this quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, Catherine A. Allred of Kings Mountain, North Carolina said, I'm convinced now that nothing good is accomplished and a lot of damage can be done if you tell a person straight out that he or she is wrong. You only succeed in stripping that person of self-dignity and making yourself an unwelcome part of any discussion. This might be recency bias, but Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I loved this book. The most critiques that I've seen about it are about how it's kind of Wattpad writing. But who cares, honestly? I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I went into it knowing, like, it just, the cover and the back, and even the title, you know it's going to be goofy. You know it's like a rom-com. And it is so, so funny. It's about this, it's exactly what the title says. This girl needs a job, and the villain ends up hiring her to be his personal assistant. And she finds evil way too attractive. And it is hilarious. The characters are amazing. The villain in it, oh my gosh, swoon forever. I also, warning, it's a series. I thought it was a standalone. And now the next book doesn't come out for a year. So that's bad. But I love this book. The quote I picked is, was that a joke? And you have dimples? He rolled his eyes and the dimple disappeared. Just the one. Was that your first? The boss's head knocked back in surprise. My first what, you little tornado? Your first joke. He grunted and opened his mouth to speak, looking quite outraged, if you were being honest. He paused to pinch the bridge of his nose. Say, do you honestly think me incapable of humor? That, I wrote, like, giggling and kicking my feet. The banter in here is unmatched, honestly. Okay, we've got another Colleen Hoover book. This is a very short read. It's called Heartbones. It's about this girl who came from like a life of poverty, and her mom dies, and she moves in with her uncle. The back is not very descriptive. I think it's her dad, who is married to somebody else and has another daughter. And they live at this like nice beach. I like picture the Hamptons. I can't remember exactly where. And she meets a guy named Samson who's also from a wealthy family. And it is just like, I read this at the beach and I was like, this makes my heart bones hurt. So here's the quote I picked. Don't worry, hearts don't have bones. They can't actually break. Yeah, maybe we both grew heart bones. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, I think. This book is about a woman who shot her husband in the face 5 times and was sentenced to what's it called? A psychiatric unit, and a psychiatrist, and she hasn't spoken a word since it happened, and a psychiatrist goes to kind of figure it out. It is so good. The quote I picked is, God hadn't abandoned me during my childhood, when I had felt so alone and so scared. He had been keeping Kathy hidden up his sleeve, waiting to produce her like a deft magician. He's talking about his wife. Okay, the one on my computer, because I so sadly lost my copy of this that was like highly annotated. I need to buy a new copy, but it was my favorite book in high school. Like for years when people ask my favorite book, I would say this. It's called Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult, who's usually a mystery writer, but she wrote this with, I believe, her daughter. And it has like 3 POVs and it's like different colors. So the black is the fairy tale, like you're actually reading from the fairy tale book. The red is the main girl Delilah's POV. And the blue is the prince and the book. And so she falls in love with the prince in the book, but he's trapped in the book. Iconic. The quote I picked was, how do you know that you are not part of a book? That someone's not reading your story right now? Mind blown, honestly. So good. That book is so good. It has a sequel, but I DNF'd it, which is weird. I just feel like the plot is a 1-book plot, if that makes sense. The Dramione fanfiction, Love in a Time of Zombie Apocalypse by Rizzle, I think. The quote I picked was, you will never see her or speak to her ever again, you SOB. And she doesn't need to be a killer, Draco said before pistol whipping character. She has me. I told you, I love the, like, she's not violent, but I am type of thing. Oh! I can't. So basically that one's just about, there's a zombie apocalypse that happened after the war. Draco is in Azkaban, which is like empty except for him now. So Hermione and Harry go get him out because he's very smart and she's trying to produce a cure for the zombie sickness. So good. 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is in the Shadow and Bone universe, but I think this is better. I actually haven't read Shadow and Bone, so I actually can't say that, but this is one of my favorites ever. It's about a heist. So it's a convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slumps, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. And the quote, I have 2. Quote I picked was, my Wraith would counsel mercy, but thanks to you, she's not here to plead your case. And the other one is, go on and flex. Doesn't matter how big the gun is if you don't know where to aim it. So good. So, that's a very good fantasy intro too. It's not too much magic. So those are some of my very favorite books and some of my very favorite lines from them. Hopefully this convinced you to read some of them because they are just chef's kiss, silent screaming all day long. Amazing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.